I hate people who don't listen to people in the conversation. I hate people who just try to dictate the whole conversation without listening, Not only me, virtually everybody hate those people. And they're all around, right? So you can find easily the person who just try to say blah, blah, blah. But if someone start to answer or someone start to talking and then, oh, I gotta go because, I'm very busy. Bye-bye. They don't listen at least just 1 minute. If you are the person, then think about it. You have no friends. You have no friends, actually. You have no close relationship, or always you feel uncomfortable after the conversation. Because the genuine conversation, after the conversation, you have something gained. You gain out of this conversation. At the end of any conversation, you become better in some way, right? Because the listener always listen very carefully and try to tell you the resolution of your problem or your issue, or at least they give you a hint or clue about that. So after the conversation, you get something, okay? Then you become better. And in the listener's standpoint, he actually listened as a student. So he basically lectured, by your speaker, okay? If the speaker always talk and don't give the person opposite side the chance, then the student cannot ask to consolidate his understanding back to the speaker through the further questions and try to, it's kind of role-playing game, like a listener all of a sudden became a speaker's position and the speaker changes his or her position to a listener. So it's a frequent role changes happening in a single conversation. So student become a teacher, teachers become students, right? Questioner becomes answer, answer becomes questioner. So we both learn from the both sides. That's why after the conversation, we become better. Yeah, it's kind of a learning process from someone in front of you. And then the listening is more important than speaker, okay? Speaking. If you have no concentration and no real deep thinking, you cannot come up with a real answer, real solution out of the problem or issue. And then how to, improve your skill, the deep thinking skill, listening. You need to listen first. You need to listen. It's information. It's contextual information from the person, right? It's not a conceptual, very abstract, otherworldly, facts or it's very concrete and an individual, is organic problem. You can ask further and further because you become more and more curious if you listen from the person who has actual problem. You can ask and ask and ask. That's why the person who are curious about people, about things, he try to listen. He try to focus what's happening. So he just shut his or her mouth and try to listen very carefully to gather real information in real time, from the real person. So very curious person is also very serious in his listening mode, listening attitude. So people like him because people like her, people like them because their eyes glaring, shining, always this very curious and try to listen. They are scientists, right? So they just keep shut and try to look into someone's eyes, and after listening, for a while, and then organize her thoughts and summarize what he or she have heard from the speaker and ask something more. So speaker can continue his speech. But when the listener throws a question or summarize what he have heard, then the speaker also need to be quiet and then try to listening. If you don't listen, the listener will stop asking the genuine questions, interesting question, and then conversation is over because it's not interesting. And the curiosity, so conversation, the curiosity is the problem. If the person in front of you listening to what you try to say is not really curious about the thing, your agenda, they just look different side or just watching their cell phone screen. Yeah, you're right. And then it's a very sign that you don't listen, the listener. Or you doesn't give them any chance, okay, to ask curious questions, something like that. That's why you don't have any friend. That's why you're not invited in a conversation. So what is the goal of communication? We have language, right? We human being. We are not orangutan, or we are not gorillas. You know, they are very similar to us, but they are not actually Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, the only species who can actually express their thought, feel emotions, and their dream in a language form, right? We have some kind of the desire, kind of pressure, right? Kind of impulse to express ourselves, right? Everybody has that kind of urge. So if you try to rob the chance from people who waiting for their chance to talk about things as a speaker, you're the robber. You will not be invited again in that society, in that, you know, groups of people, right? So you'll be more lonely after that. So check that out. Whether you are really listening or you're taking the person's chance of, you know, expressing their thought to you. You're not ready to listen from them. If you're all day tired of listening to people, and then it's a very bad symptom of you as very bad listener, and it's terrible. So okay, try to shut your mouth in the conversation for a while, for a day, for a month, for even a year. So don't speak anymore. So just write down every single argument you want to talk about instead on a paper. Don't try to steal someone else's chance to talk about that. Just keep your mouth shut and just listening, and just ask with curiosity. Don't make up any question, but if you listen very carefully, you come up with a very curious question, and your eyes will glare. You know, people will be fascinated by your sincerity and the attitude in the conversation. You will be invited again, and you'll be a person who is a lot deeper than before, because you listen from somebody else and you're more knowledgeable about the people. If you're more knowledgeable about the people around you, then you can give them a real solution for their problem. You can become a friend of them again. So write down every single thought on your paper after the conversation. So you start writing something very interesting, because it's deep thought. So don't talk, but just write down. Write some essays, okay, about the conversation between people. So you will be very curious, your mode is changed, right? You're not in a speaking mode, you're listening mode. You are trying to grasp the world around you, because individual person is kind of individual world, right? To understand a single person is to understand the whole universe, right? So that's interesting to get to know the person, Don't try to impress people to be invited. No. Instead, just try to understand a person in front of you. Try to understand their problem when you're listening to their problem. So that's it. And actually, it's very fun. People think it's boring. So speaking is a lot more exciting. But no. Actually, after just talking all day, and you after the conversation, you go back to your place and you feel very weird and feel behind. Your conscientious already know that something wrong there. Give them a chance, You need to have some kind of time and space, right? Don't fill your space with stuff. The universe needs kind of things and space. The vacuum space. Without such things as vacuum space, the universe cannot work. So the conversation, the whole communication is like that. So it's kind of unorganized and unstructured, but I guess it's time to cut off, and see you in the next video.